Talks. I'm standing out here in front of the Perth railway station where the writers of Australia have gathered to show their solidarity for the American writers who are currently on strike because of a war they have between the producers and the studios and themselves.
Without writers, there are no words. We're supporting the American Writers Guild. The writers in the US want money, they want residuals for the products that they're written that are put on other media, like on the internet and in games and that sort of thing.
It's a dispute between the Writers Guild of America and the studios and the networks, and it's basically because the agreement that writers have with the studios has come up for renegotiation, and what writers are doing is trying to get a fair share of the income that comes from DVD sales and from online sources, online content. So that's the internet and mobile phones and that kind of thing. It's a very important part of a writer's income.
When a strike like this happens in America and the studios find they can't make anything because they ran out of scripts, this happened before nearly 20 years ago now when the American writers were on strike, and American studios came here and tried to get Australian writers to move in and take the place of the American writers, and we're saying no, we won't do that.
It's a good thing, you know.
It is?
I mean, I've known Jeffrey a long time, and it yielded big results 20 years ago. And I've been on the committee and on the national committee. So one of the most exciting things being on the national committee is when people come together from the other countries. You realise that they're exactly the same problems everywhere, and there's always movement to reduce the payment for what is very, very hard work. People, for instance, who are, like one of the writers here is at the moment working on something on spec. It may 3 or 4 years may go by before they yield any real results.
I've made a bit of a living so far, not a complete living, but I do think it's very important that writers are paid for what they do.
Tell me the screen credits, what were they again?
Mother and Son, a series with Ruth Pracknell and Gary MacDonald and Henry Zetz.
Okay.
And a series called Grassroots about local government, both on the ABC.
You know, I think stories are the way that we speak to each other in our culture, and I think I'm really honoured and proud to be able to be part of it, I guess.
Producers have a different task in the whole production process from writers, so that's a significant difference. And if producers have the power to take certain rights away from writers, that's an inequality.
The average used to be 7 years before a feature film got to the screen from when it was started. So when people ask for residuals, it's not that they're wanting cream on the cake, they're wanting to pay for what they didn't get money for in the preparation.
How does this help those in the US?
Well, it's actually an international day of solidarity. United Kingdom, in Canada, in Ireland, New Zealand, all around Australia. We're supporting our colleagues in Hollywood and in the United States.
I represent the Australian Writers Guild on the board, and we all agree, the Guild, that we should stand behind the American writers because one day they'll have to stand behind us. So we're calling in a favour, and we agree with their fight. Their fight's our fight. We're all going to write for the net, and we all need to be getting fairly paid.
It's really exciting from my point of view, having been in the Writers Guild now for 30 years, to find a new generation of people realising how connected they are around the world. So.
Well, what are you doing here today?
I'm here as a part of the national response to the request by the American Writers Guild for worldwide solidarity with their position, because if their position erodes, then it's likely to happen in Britain, in Ireland, in Canada, in Australia, everywhere. Where English-speaking drama is written.
We get fair and equitable remuneration for all the hard work and talent and effort that we put into writing the things that get turned into TV series and films and all sorts of other stories. So just grateful that I'm able to be here and actually support what's happening in the US.
American writers earn about half of their income through residuals, through repeat fees and so forth. We earn next to nothing through repeat fees.
As a creative person, sometimes you don't feel that you have much choice. But, you know, it's something that you have chosen to do at a very young age and you can't really go back on it.
One of the great dilemmas is that now at our fingertips, David Lynch says this, the great filmmaker, the technology now has converged so fast, it's possible for people to make film.